Hi, everyone. Today, Dr. Sarah Yu, for U.S. Senator, as well as Dr. Sarah Yu show America Today and the world. We have a so special guest, delegates to join today. This is amazing day because, this trip, guest not easy to see. And so everyone, welcome to show. First, each guest introduction themselves, who they are, what their background, what kind of kernel, what kind of organizations they are now. Let's start. I'm former Congressman, Mr. Mark. Can you introduce yourself, and then we will hear from that.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show. My name is Mark Siljander, and in summary, I've had the privilege in America serving everything from a precinct delegate in terms of making some form of legislative policy to the State House, to the Congress, to the UN. And I look back on those years of serving and felt that there was something missing in the whole process, especially regarding peacemaking. And several of the gentlemen, revered gentlemen on your show, are involved in peacemaking and trying to bring people together. And it seems like politics, diplomacy, military and economic carrots and sticks, in other words, trade or sanctions for economic issues, pressures, or peacemakers or bombs, force in the military, they may work in certain instances, but one of the missing dimensions in statecraft, as we call it, would be a spiritual encounter. I don't mean religious, like Jewish, Muslim, Christian necessarily. What I mean is simply being friends, connecting on a prayer level, however one prays. And I've had extraordinary opportunities to pray with people from the Vatican to the Dalai Lama, just to some of my most favorite rabbis, to many Muslim scholars and leaders around the world. So I find that no one, generally speaking, is against some form of spiritual encounter or meditative prayer if it's sufficiently broad enough. Now, who cares about that? Well, in my experience in peacemaking, not peace dreaming or peace theorizing, but actually engaged in real life peacemaking, that this opens the mind and the heart of people when you want to be friends and breaking bread together and talking about family and struggles with some of the worst despot leaders in the world. And I find that they are more receptive than we may imagine. I've engaged in this process with Saddam Hussein's regime just before the war, with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, and with Omar al-Bashir in North Sudan. And all of them was, except for Iraq, all of these engagements netted, in my view, a significant change of policy and behavior. For example, and I'll end with this thought, in North Sudan during the height of the Darfur genocide in Western Sudan, I met with Bashir and President or the Secretary General of the United Nations, then Ban Ki-moon, who's Buddhist, by the way, of background. He and I became close friends and prayer partners. And then I encouraged him to do the same with Bashir, Muslim, which sounds completely absurd, but it netted signing of deployment of the hybrid peacekeepers in Darfur. And similar stories in 6 other countries, which I won't bore you with. So my goal is to find humanity in even the worst people and find some kind of spiritual common ground. It doesn't have to be my spirituality, but some common ground in spirituality, particularly among the Abrahamic faiths, who I'll conclude at this time are either part and parcel of over 84% of the global conflicts. It's either Muslim, Christian, and or Jew against each other or amongst themselves. So I feel that faith or spirituality is a critical component, and if done properly, we've experienced extraordinary results, which include releasing of 52 hostages and people of faith who were wrongly imprisoned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congressman Mark. You are yesterday night, all night, I looking your YouTube. So anyone that more know about, Google on it, you know, YouTube, everything, what he discussion today is more deeply talking about, please visit. And then Dr. Mordechai, Kedar, please introduce yourself and then your background to the board, you know, needed to know who are you. So, and then Joel, what is your passionate and what issue you want to solve? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for inviting me. I was born in Israel 70 years ago, and I learned Arabic and Arabic culture and Islamic culture. And I spent 25 years in the Israeli intelligence, military intelligence, and additional 27 years as a researcher and a lecturer at Bar-Ilan University in the departments of Arabic and Middle East studies. So this is my background. I speak Arabic fluently. I read Arabic, I write in Arabic. And this is actually my tool to really look into texts and what people are saying in the Arab and the Islamic world. I do understand Persian and a little bit of Turkish as well. So I do have the means how to conduct a research about these societies, and here sociology plays a major role, even bigger than the politics. What we have to, when we talk about peacemaking, we have to understand, first of all, what peace means. In the Western mindset, peace means acceptance, that every side accepts the other side with all the differences, with all the problems. And as a result of this acceptance, the other side is being viewed as a side which has all the rights to exist, to have his own culture, to have his religion, to have his mindset, and to act and to behave the way he or the other side wants. This is the basis of every peace. And without this, there cannot be any peace. If one side doesn't recognize the other side's right to exist and to act. The problem today in the world, I know there are problems between Russians and Ukrainians, but the bigger problems and longer in time problems are within the Islamic world and between the Islamic world and other parts of the world. Why? Unfortunately, according to all kinds of Islamic thinkers and philosophers, only Islam is the right religion, while Judaism, Christianity, and of course Buddhism, Shintoism, Hinduism, and all the other religions are null and void, have no right to exist. Only Islam is the religion which Allah recognizes, and this is actually based on a verse in the Quran which says, "Inna dina 'inda Allah al-Islam," means the religion that Allah is only Islam. This is why the basis for peace here is missing. because if people, Muslim people, and I'm not saying that all the Muslims, but it's enough if 1% of the Islamic world will look at things from this point of view, and we have a big problem with 1.5 million people who couldn't accept anybody else but Muslims, and I'm talking about 1 of 1,000 of Islam, and this is the problem. They do not recognize each other's right to exist, like the rift between the Sunnah and the Shia. Each side sees the other side as the infidel, and this is why jihad should be waged against the other side, let alone other religions like Christians, Jews, Buddhists, and so forth, which in the view of the jihadists, they have no right to exist. So how can there be how can there be a peace between these extremists who today control some countries like Iran? Iran is controlled by a group of Islamists, and this is the way how they look at the others. They look at America as the big Satan, not even a human being. It's even worse than human being. And of course, Israel is the small Satan, yet a Satan. And everything which they do is revolving around this Archimedes point. So how can you make peace with these people? These people have to be shown the way out of everything in order to convince them that their way leads only to the problem. And they cannot survive as a state in a civilized world. But unfortunately, the world is too weak. The world is too fatigued to deal with these people in the only way which they understand. And just imagine, we had the same experience 80-something years ago with Hitler. He didn't see other nations as nations who are allowed to be and to exist. And the result was devastating. More than 50 million people got killed in a vicious war, including 6 million Jews who were exterminated only because they are Jews, because Hitler could not accept anybody else. What the Iranians are saying today is more or less the same thing. And the world, unfortunately,